Since our founding in 1899, the VFW has placed great emphasis on educating our nation's youth on civic responsibilities and patriotism, enhancing in 1999 the SMART Maher and VFW National Citizenship Education Teacher Award as a way to recognize teachers who go above and beyond to instill the core values into their students' daily lives. America's teachers play a vital role in raising our nation's next generation of leaders as civic-minded patriots. And this year's award recipients undeniably stand out. The three teachers you're about to meet were selected for their innovative teaching methods, creative class projects, and eye-opening trips used to bring history alive and encourage their students to become better citizens. Each recipient will receive the $1,000 SMART Maher VFW National Citizenship Education Teacher Award for personal development, and their school likewise will receive a $1,000 award. To this year's recipients, I want to personally say thank you for going above and beyond for our next generation of leaders. Congratulations on a job well done. First up, I'm pleased to introduce to you the National Citizenship Education Teacher of the Year, representing grades K through 5, Emily Cowan Ezell of Cowan, Tennessee. Emily has dedicated her 22-year career to instilling patriotism in her students. She was inspired to write "This Is Our Country," a play that informs students about America's history and traditions, emphasizing an appreciation for the veterans who sacrificed for our freedom. Under her direction, the play has been performed annually in conjunction with Veterans Day for at least 15 years. Miss Ezell goes above and beyond the call of duty when it comes to educating her students about veterans. Emily is known for planning annual field trips to military museums, inviting local veterans to visit her classrooms, and for showcasing veterans' pictures and stories to help ensure patriotism lives around year-round in her schools. Please join me in welcoming Emily Ezell, sponsored by VFW Post 10904 in Manchester, Tennessee.
And the plaque reads, SMART Maher VFW, National Citizenship Education Teacher of the Year, grade level K to 5, presented to Emily Cowan, Cowan Elementary School, 2017-2018.
Well, hello, VFW. I really like you now. You are a game changer, and you are a difference maker. You have been in my life. I want to thank you for this high honor and for encouraging me to pursue my passion, which is to instill patriotism in the hearts and minds of the next generation. And it is my pleasure each year to also teach them and educate them on the importance of honoring and respecting our veterans. For you, it is you who provide us with all of our freedoms. And we appreciate you, and you are remembered. Aside from being a game changer and a difference maker, the VFW has inspired me to dream. You have pushed me to dream bigger and bolder dreams than I have ever thought possible. Once upon a time, my dream was if I could just meet a living president, what would that do for my classroom? That was before I met the VFW. Now I understand what makes the difference in my classroom are our veterans. And when I bring those veterans in each year, and I see the connection that they make with those students, that is what warms my heart. That's what makes me feel that I'm doing a small part. Y'all do a much bigger part. But it's the veterans that make this country great. I would like to thank Kimberly King, the post commander that has made all of this possible for me. And I would like to thank my family that I drug all the way here. They all came with me. Thank you for coming and supporting me. All that I am able to accomplish each year is by God's grace, and it is my prayer that God will bless each of you as you have blessed me. And your motto says, "No one does more for veterans," but I believe it is much bigger than that. I believe that no one does more for America. Thank you, VFW.
Next, I'm very pleased to introduce the National Citizenship Education Teacher of the Year representing grades 6 through 8, Sara Gibson Cohan of Milford, Virginia. Sara is not just any U.S. history teacher. From spearheading her History's Club's creation of a Korean War memorial in Carolina County and portraying important historical figures from every era, to leading field trips to local war and military museums, Sara was chosen for her unique ability to bring history to life while helping her students understand the service and sacrifice of America's veterans. Through field trips and events hosted at the school, she connects her students to veterans who give firsthand accounts of their time in the military, going as far as to host a welcome home event where students and staff spent time interviewing and getting to know the veterans. Please join me in welcoming Sara Gibson Cohan, sponsored by VFW Post 8529 in Sandstorm, Virginia.
Smart Maher, VFW National Citizenship Education Teacher of the Year, grade level 6 to 8, presented to Sara Gibson Cohan, Caroline Middle School, 2017-2018.
I saw Virginia, so hey. Please forgive my nerves because this is a far bigger crowd than I'm ever used to. I usually max have 38 in my classroom, so, and you're a lot bigger, hopefully better behaved too, we'll see. Thank you so much for having me here today. When I entered into teaching, I had no idea what was in store for me. This award means so much to me, not because of the title, the prestige, or the sheer award, but because of the fact that our country's heroes feel I am worthy of this recognition. I always tell my students that our veterans are our national treasures and should be honored and treated as such. My students hear me say every year, all year, if you see a veteran, be sure to thank them. Not just for their service to our country, but also for the sacrifices they made for us. They sacrificed time with their family, their education, their youth, and sometimes deeper parts of themselves for us. So a big thank you to you all. I could not have achieved success in my career without the help of some very important people in my life. First and foremost, thank you to Tina Darby and her dad, James Pitts, and VFW Post 8529 for the nomination. My partner in crime, Miss Ruth Judd, who without her, our school's history club would not be possible. She is the yin to my yang and a very dear friend. My parents, who actually still answer the phone, even though they know I'm calling to ask a favor for one of my many, many crazy ideas. They are always there to support me, to support not only myself, but all of my veterans. Yes, I consider every veteran I meet to be one of my veterans, including the 1,000-something of you. I can't shake all of your hands, I'd break my wrist, but thank you. And finally, to my new husband, the last time I thanked him, he was my fiancé. Teaching isn't just a career, it's a lifestyle. And I'm sure that poor man did not realize what he was getting into when he said, "I do." But he has been my rock and my shoulder to cry on when I think I've taken on more than I could handle, and my biggest cheerleader in my chosen path. I'd also like to thank every VFW member for sponsoring my scholarship to attend the Freedoms Foundation at Valley Forge. I was just there last week taking a class on the Medal of Honor in World War II, and it was an experience I'm not likely to ever forget. And I did learn and will use the character development program in my classroom. I'm actually meeting with my principal on Wednesday to get it instilled school-wide. While at that class last week, I had a teacher ask me how she can get veterans more involved in her classroom. I told her email anyone and everyone you think will be able to help, and to start with her local VFW post. Bringing veterans into a classroom provides an education to my children that I simply can't give them. I've never served, and I like to think I'm still fairly young, so a veteran who can give a firsthand account of history is truly magical. We take veterans with us on field trips to museums, we host them at our annual Veterans Day ceremony, and we have them in whenever the opportunity allows. I'm pretty well liked by my students, but they often tell me that I should have vets in to teach class more often. Not to be offensive to me, you know, Mrs. Cowan. Bridging the gap between generations is helping my students to understand the country they are lucky enough to call home. I'm trying to teach future generations to not take for granted all that our veterans have provided for us. Earning this award has only made me want to find more ways to honor our veterans in my classroom. Thank you all from the bottom of my heart.
And last but certainly not least, it is with a great deal of pleasure that I introduce to you VFW Life Member and National Citizenship Education Teacher of the Year, representing grades 9 through 12, Michael Rauenhorst from North Pole, Alaska. An Air Force veteran and aerospace science teacher at North Pole High School in Alaska. Michael was selected at the high school level for encouraging community volunteerism, his leadership of the school's Air Force Junior ROTC, and a curriculum of action tours, which reinforced not only science in the classroom, but encouraged citizenship and strengthening students' perspective of aviation and America's military past, present, and future. Please help me in congratulating VFW Life member Michael Rauenhorst, sponsored by VFW Post 10029 and its auxiliary in North Pole, Alaska.
The Smart Maher VFW National Citizenship Education Teacher of the Year, grade levels 9 to 12, presented to Michael Rauenhorst, North Pole High School, 2017-2018.
Well, good morning. Thank you for this award and thank you for the opportunity to speak to you today. I'm humbled by this recognition and honored to be able to share a few words about teaching patriotism to today's youth with you, my fellow veterans. Almost 8 years ago, after 28 years of military service, where I started as a private in the Marine Corps Reserve and retired as a colonel in the Alaska Air National Guard, I took on one of the greatest leadership challenges in my life. I became a teacher. The person I'd like to thank most for myself becoming a teacher is my wife, Heather. Without her, I probably would not have had the courage to retire from the military to accept a teaching position in our school when the opportunity presented itself. Heather spent her entire career in education, and she opened my eyes and heart to working with kids and making a difference in their lives. Without her, I probably would not have heard or heeded the voice of God calling me this profession. And teaching is indeed a calling, and I wasn't exaggerating. I called it one of the greatest leadership challenges of my life. See, I have 6 kids, so I might have slightly underestimated how hard it would be to teach civic responsibility and patriotism to other people's children. But that's the mission of the Air Force JROTC program, to develop citizens of character dedicated to serving their nation and community. To achieve this mission, each JROTC program takes a branch of the military, and we use that culture, history, traditions, and values as the foundation to build better citizens. In our high school, we start with the Air Force core values of integrity first, service before self, and excellence in all that we do. Each summer, our JROTC cadets participate in a leadership camp led by instructors like myself and mentors from each of the 4 branches of the military. During the camp, we have a flag retirement ceremony in which cadets place each of the 13 stripes of flag into a fire, followed by the field of blue as we retire a flag. There is a script that is read aloud for each stripe. While that ceremony itself stirs patriotism in all participants, we then have each JROTC instructor and military mentor write a name on a piece of a flag and then proclaim aloud the name of a vet killed in action or in the line of duty as they place it in the fire. I can see the astonishment in the students' eyes as 15 to 20 adults each recite names of friends and family members they have lost to service in this country. I think this part of the ceremony has a lasting impact on each student because most of these military mentors are not much older than our students, and they're only a few years out of high school themselves. It is readily apparent how much these young military members have already given to their country. Needless to say, it is an emotional time for all as we reverently remember those who have made the ultimate sacrifice. And that's one way that we introduce students to the important concept of sacrifice. In today's culture filled with instant gratification, sacrifice is not a familiar concept to a lot of high school students. And yet, I know nothing worth having comes without sacrifice. My students won't win competitions or trophies without hours sacrifice and practice. They won't get the best grades they can without sacrificing a few social engagements. Those are the everyday little sacrifices I need them to understand and embrace in order to grow up, be productive citizens, and have good lives. But I also want them to know that their freedoms are the result of sacrifices of others. I want them to be inspired by those like you who have lived a life of service before self. I want to assure you that your sacrifices have not been in vain because my students are learning to follow your example. These kids amaze me with how much they demonstrate service before self. One of the things we take special pride in is setting and achieving lofty goals for community service hours. Over the last 4 years, our cadet corps of approximately 95 cadets have averaged around 3,800 hours of community service per school year. And they aren't just supporting activities at their school. They're organizing blood drives. They're doing setup and tear down for community health fairs. And they're serving our community's first responders with an annual awards banquet. They ask what more they can do for our community long after they've already met our goal for community service hours. I'm also pleased to tell you that dozens of our students from our JROTC program have enlisted to serve our country. While JROTC program is prohibited from being a military recruitment program because our mission is to function as a high school students development program, we do expose the cadets to the military in the same manner that we expose them to college, apprenticeship programs, and career opportunities after high school. We are fortunate to be able to expose our cadets to the Army, the Air Force, and Alaska National Guard thanks to the outstanding support of the military members, units, and bases in our great state. In the last 8 years, more than 50 of my cadets have enlisted or been commissioned to serve in our nation's military. I want you all to rest well tonight, knowing that the future of our great nation is in good hands with these young people. So I accept this award on behalf of the students who give me the hope that those names that we placed into the fire were not lost in vain. And I look forward to displaying this award in our school for all of our students to share in the success acknowledged by this award. As is often the case in the military, the one receiving an award or decoration is usually standing on the shoulders of a great team that put them in the position to succeed. and this award is no different. So in closing, I'd like to share credit for our program success with and express my gratitude to the North Pole VFW Post 10029, especially retired Chief Master Sergeant Brad Spillanek, who nominated me for this award, the leadership of North Pole High School and the Fairbanks North Star Borough School District, the parents and guardians of my cadets, and community supporters such as the many members of the VFW who inspire my students with your great example. God bless the VFW and our great nation. Thank you.